The massive holographic display flickered to life, casting a soft blue glow across the Interstellar Research Academy's main reception hall. Jae Kim stood motionless, his dark eyes scanning the unfamiliar environment. Around him, alien students from various star systems moved with practiced elegance, their bodies reflecting adaptations unique to their home planets. Proxima Centauri Station hummed with technological precision. Metallic walls seemed to breathe with advanced life support systems, while translators embedded in every communication device ensured seamless interaction between species. Jae felt small, almost insignificant, among these extraordinary beings, who had traversed light years to participate in the most comprehensive interspecies research program ever conceived. A tall, slender alien with iridescent skin approached him. Professor Kang Wei's movements were deliberately slow, a gesture of respect and curiosity. "Human participant?" the professor asked, his translator converting his native language into perfect English. Jae nodded, his hand unconsciously adjusting. The standard-issue research uniform. The fabric was lightweight, designed to monitor physiological responses during various scientific experiments. Unlike the elaborate biosuits worn by other species, human attire seemed almost primitive. Around them, students from 17 different planetary systems gathered. Some had exoskeletons that gleamed like polished metal, while others appeared almost ethereal, with translucent skin revealing complex internal structures. Jae represented Earth, a planet many considered young and underdeveloped. The orientation began with a holographic presentation. Stunning visualizations showed the diverse capabilities of participating species. Creatures that could survive in temperatures ranging from absolute zero to plasma-level heat. Beings that communicated through electromagnetic pulses or chemical exchanges. And then, almost as an afterthought, a brief segment about humans. Chai Choi, the other human participant, stood nearby. Her posture was relaxed but alert, a subtle indication of the underlying strength that would soon become apparent. The alien, researchers had no idea what was about to unfold. Professor Wei continued his introduction, explaining the comprehensive assessment program. Each participant will undergo multiple environmental simulations designed to test physiological and psychological limits, he announced. The translation echoed through the hall, creating a symphonic blend of alien languages. Jae observed the equipment surrounding them. Sensors embedded in the floor, ceiling, and walls would track every minute biological change. Advanced quantum processors stood ready to analyze data in milliseconds. The entire station was essentially one massive living laboratory. What the aliens didn't know is how humans adapted. Evolution on Earth had been a brutal process, occurring on a planet filled with constant challenges. Extreme temperature variations, complex predatory ecosystems, and rapidly changing environmental conditions had shaped human survival instincts in ways most galactic species couldn't comprehend. The first group assignment was announced. Mixed. Teams would enter a preliminary simulation testing collaborative problem-solving and individual resilience. Jae found himself paired with a crystalline being from a high-gravity planet and a gaseous life form that communicated through color changes. As they moved towards the first testing chamber, subtle glances were exchanged. The alien students viewed the humans with a mixture of curiosity and mild condescension. Humans were known as relatively new entrants to the galactic community, with limited interstellar experience. Little did they know that beneath Jae's calm exterior and seemingly average physical structure lay generations of evolutionary adaptability. Earth's harsh environments had created a species capable of remarkable transformations, a fact that was about to be dramatically revealed. The chamber doors slid open, revealing a complex landscape designed to challenge every participant's fundamental survival mechanisms. Lights shifted, atmospheric composition changed, and gravity became unpredictable. Jae took a deep breath. This was more than just a scientific experiment. This was humanity's first real chance to demonstrate its true potential on an interstellar stage. The test was about to begin, The survival simulation chamber buzzed with quiet anticipation. Sophisticated monitoring equipment tracked every microscopic change in the participants' biological systems. Dr. Sung Park watched through reinforced observation windows, his fingers moving rapidly across holographic control panels. Jay and Hai stood among alien participants, their human forms looking almost unremarkable compared to the exotic beings surrounding them. The first test involved a rapidly changing environmental challenge designed to push each species to its adaptive limits. Temperatures began to fluctuate wildly. From freezing cold to intense heat, the chamber transformed into a brutal testing ground. Alien participants started showing immediate signs of stress. A silicon-based creature from a methane-rich planet began to crystallize at the edges. Another participant with a liquid-based cellular structure started to destabilize. Chai moved with unexpected calm. Her breathing remained steady, her muscles relaxed despite the extreme conditions. Sensors attached to her body revealed something extraordinary. Her cellular structure was making micro-adjustments at an incredible speed. Where other species would break down, her body was actively adapting. Jay's response was equally remarkable. His metabolism shifted, redirecting energy to critical systems. Blood flow adjusted, neural pathways recalibrated, and his body generated internal heat with surprising efficiency. The alien researchers watched in growing disbelief. Professor Kang Wei leaned closer to the monitoring screens. "These readings cannot be correct," he muttered, his translator converting his native language into clear English. The data showed human participants not just surviving, but fundamentally changing to meet environmental challenges. The simulation intensified. Radiation levels increased. Oxygen became scarce. Gravitational forces fluctuated unpredictably. Most participants were now struggling, their biological systems pushed to critical limits. Emergency protocols were moments away from activation. Yet Jay and Hai remained stable. More than stable, they were performing. Chai's neural responses showed enhanced pattern recognition. Her brain was processing environmental changes faster than any previously recorded species. Adaptive algorithms in her cellular structure were working like advanced biological computers, predicting and countering potential system failures. Jay demonstrated an equally impressive response. His immune system was creating temporary genetic modifications, a process that should have been impossible according to current scientific understanding. Where other species would require generations to develop such adaptations, humans were doing it in real time. The alien research team became increasingly agitated. These results contradicted everything in their extensive galactic database. Humans were supposed to be a relatively young species, limited in their evolutionary capabilities. Yet the data told a different story. Dr. Park zoomed in on cellular-level recordings. What he saw was nothing short of revolutionary. Human cells were communicating and adapting with a complexity that suggested a fundamental misunderstanding of biological potential. Halfway through the simulation, most alien participants required medical intervention. Protective suits were failing. Biological systems were breaking down. But the two humans moved as if they were in a controlled laboratory environment. "Impossible," whispered one researcher, his translator converting his shock into a clear emotional response. "Humans should not be able to do this." The simulation continued. Each moment revealed another layer of human potential. Adaptive capabilities that defied current scientific understanding. Resilience that seemed to come from something deeper than mere biological programming. As the test reached its final stages, only Jay and Hai remained fully functional. Their bodies had not just survived, they had transformed. Cellular structures had reconfigured. Neural pathways had expanded. Metabolic systems had found entirely new ways of managing extreme stress. When the simulation finally ended, the observation room fell into complete silence. Decades of scientific understanding were being rewritten in those moments. Humans were no longer just another species in the galactic catalog. They were something else entirely. Professor Wei looked at Dr. Park, a mix of fear and excitement in his alien eyes. "What are humans?" he asked, the question hanging in the air like a profound revelation. The first assessment was complete. And nothing would be the same again. The extreme condition testing laboratory stood silent, its advanced equipment humming with anticipation. Massive radiation shields surrounded the central testing chamber, designed to simulate environments that would destroy most known life forms. Scientists from 17 different planetary systems watched with collective breath held. J. Kim stepped into the chamber wearing only a lightweight monitoring suit. Radiation levels began to climb, reaching intensities that would immediately kill most biological entities. Alien researchers expected him to collapse within seconds. Nothing happened. His body responded differently. Cellular structures began to shift, creating unprecedented protective mechanisms. Where radiation should destroy DNA, Jay's genetic material seemed to absorb and redistribute energy. Microscopic sensors revealed something impossible. His cells were actually converting harmful radiation into usable cellular energy. Professor Kang Wei's hands trembled as he reviewed the data. "This cannot be scientifically possible," he muttered, watching the impossible unfold. Jay's metabolic rate remained stable. His neural pathways continued functioning at peak efficiency. Radiation levels that should have reduced a body to dust were being neutralized. The simulation intensified. Oxygen levels dropped to near zero. Gravitational forces became unpredictable. Temperature fluctuated between extreme cold and intense heat. Each change was designed to push biological systems beyond their breaking point. Jay's body adapted. Microscopic genetic modifications occurred in real time. His cellular structure developed temporary protective mechanisms that rewrote biological understanding. Where other species would require generations to develop such adaptations, humans were doing it instantly. Xiai Choi, observing from the secondary monitoring station, showed similar capabilities. Her body was processing environmental challenges, with a complexity that suggested humans were not just survivors, but evolutionary masters. The alien research team watched in growing disbelief. Their most advanced predictive models collapsed. Humans were displaying abilities that contradicted everything in their comprehensive galactic database. "Look at the neural plasticity," whispered one researcher, pointing at the complex brain activity displays. Jay's brain was creating new neural pathways faster than any known species. It wasn't just surviving. It was actively learning and growing within the hostile environment. 12 hours passed. The simulation continued. Most testing equipment began to fail under extreme conditions. But Jay remained functional. His body had become a living laboratory of adaptive potential. Radiation levels that should have been fatal were being processed like nutritional input. Oxygen deprivation triggered cellular mechanisms that extracted energy from alternative sources. Gravitational stress resulted in muscle and bone configurations that defied current scientific understanding. Professor Wei turned to Dr. Park, his alien features showing a mixture of fear and profound respect. "Humans are not what we thought," he said, his translator converting the statement with perfect clarity. The breakthrough was happening in real time. Humans were revealing themselves as something more than just another species in the galactic catalog. They were adaptive machines, living systems capable of instant evolutionary response. As the simulation reached its final stages, Jay's body had transformed multiple times. Each environmental challenge was met not with resistance, but with fundamental biological reconstruction. His cellular structure had become a dynamic, responsive system that made traditional understanding of life seem primitive. The observation room fell silent. Decades of scientific research were being rewritten in moments. Humans were no longer just participants in a research program. They were a fundamental redefinition of biological potential. When the final readings came through, the data was clear. Jay had not just survived. He had demonstrated capabilities that suggested humans were perhaps the most adaptable life form ever encountered in the known universe. "We need to understand this," Professor Wei said quietly. "Everything we know about life, about survival, has just changed. The breakthrough was complete, and the galaxy would never be the same. The Central Research Documentation Center buzzed with nervous energy. Scientists from multiple planetary systems gathered around holographic displays, their collective disbelief palpable. Professor Kang Wei's preliminary report was about to be presented to the Galactic Scientific Council. Dr. Sung Park stood at the center of the massive circular chamber, his hands steady as he activated the primary data projection. Millions of data points began to dance in three-dimensional space, telling a story that would reshape scientific understanding forever. "Humans are not what we believed," he began, his voice calm and measured. The holographic displays showed cellular recordings from J and Hai's experiments. Each visualization revealed something extraordinary, a biological system that defied every known scientific principle. The most shocking revelation was human genetic plasticity. Where other species required thousands of generations to develop minor adaptations, humans could modify their cellular structure in real time. It was as if evolution had become an instant, responsive mechanism. Alien scientists from different research institutions leaned forward. Some appeared fascinated. Others looked terrified. The data challenged everything they understood about biological development, adaptation, and survival. Cellular recordings showed how human DNA could rapidly restructure itself. When exposed to extreme radiation instead of breaking down, the genetic material would actually reconstruct and strengthen. Neural pathways would expand and create new connections faster than any known biological computer. "Their bodies are not just surviving," Dr. Park explained. "They are actively learning and transforming with each environmental challenge." The most conservative researchers demanded verification. Multiple independent teams were asked to review the data. Each confirmation brought more astonishment. Humans were not just another species. They were a complete paradigm shift in understanding life itself. Jay's specific test results became the center of intense discussion. His cellular response to extreme conditions suggested a level of adaptability that seemed almost impossible. Radiation that should have destroyed biological systems was being processed like nutritional input. Hai's neural plasticity was equally remarkable. Her brain could create new neural pathways and adaptive mechanisms faster than the most advanced artificial intelligence systems. It was as if human brains were living, breathing quantum computers. The implications were massive. If humans could adapt this quickly, what did it mean for their potential in space exploration? What evolutionary advantages could they develop? The questions became more profound with each passing moment. Professor Wei highlighted the most critical finding. "Humans do not just adapt," he said. "They transform. Their biological systems are not static. They are dynamic, responsive, and fundamentally different from everything we know." Political representatives from various star systems began to take notice. This was more than a scientific discovery. This was a potential shift in galactic power dynamics. A species that could adapt so quickly could potentially survive and thrive in environments considered impossible for other life forms. The research center became a hub of intense debate. Some scientists argued for immediate further study. Others suggested potential diplomatic approaches to understand this extraordinary species better. Dr. Park's final slides showed comparative data. Where other species would require protective suits and complex life support systems, humans seemed capable of surviving with minimal external support. Their internal systems could modify themselves to meet environmental challenges. "We are looking at a species that doesn't just survive," Dr. Park concluded. "We are looking at a species that defines survival itself." The holographic displays went silent. The implications hung in the air like a profound musical note. Humans were no longer just another entry in the galactic biological catalog. They were a fundamental redefinition of life's potential. As the presentation ended, one senior researcher from a methane-based civilization whispered a statement that would soon become famous. "Humans are not just a species. They are evolution, personified." The scientific revelation was complete, and nothing would be the same again. The interstellar diplomatic conference hall erupted with tension. Representatives from hundreds of planetary systems gathered. Their collective attention focused on a single holographic presentation about humanity's extraordinary capabilities. Jae Kim and Hai Choi sat quietly in the center of the massive circular chamber, seemingly unaware of the historic moment unfolding around them. They looked ordinary, almost unremarkable, but the data told a different story. Professor Kang Wei stepped forward, his alien features reflecting a complex mix of emotions. "Humans are not what we believed," he announced. The translation systems carried his words across multiple linguistic frequencies, reaching every corner of the massive hall. Diplomatic tensions began to rise. Some representatives saw humans as a potential threat. Others recognized an unprecedented opportunity for galactic cooperation. The research findings suggested that humans possessed adaptive capabilities that could revolutionize understanding of biological potential. The most conservative planetary delegations demanded immediate restrictions. They could destabilize existing ecological balances, argued a crystalline representative from a high-gravity system. Her translucent body reflected the intense holographic displays, showing human cellular adaptability. Counter-arguments emerged quickly. Scientific teams presented evidence of human potential for peaceful exploration. Their ability to adapt suggested not just survival, but a profound capacity for understanding and integration. Jay watched silently. He understood that this moment was about more than just him or Hai. This was about humanity's place in a vast, complex universe. Their research had revealed something fundamental. Humans were not limited by traditional biological constraints. The conference hall became a battlefield of ideas. Each presentation revealed another layer of human potential. Cellular restructuring, neural plasticity, metabolic flexibility. The capabilities seemed almost unlimited. Diplomatic protocols began to shift. Existing interstellar agreements needed complete revision. A species that could adapt so quickly represented both an incredible opportunity and a potential strategic challenge. Hai's research data showed how human neural systems could process complex environmental information faster than most advanced artificial intelligence systems. Her brain was not just a biological computer, it was a living, adaptive mechanism. Political representatives from various star systems started reconsidering existing perspectives. Humans were no longer seen as a young, inexperienced species. They were potential partners in galactic exploration and understanding. The most progressive alien civilizations saw incredible potential. Collaborative research programs were proposed. Scientific exchanges became a priority. Humans represented a fundamental shift in understanding biological potential. Professor Wei's final presentation highlighted the most critical finding. Humans do not just survive, and he explained. They transform. Their biological systems are not static. They are dynamic, responsive, and fundamentally different. Security protocols across multiple star systems began immediate reassessment. A species with such adaptive capabilities needed careful, respectful engagement. The days of viewing humans as a minor galactic species were over. Economic implications emerged quickly. Human adaptability suggested potential technological and biological innovations that could revolutionize multiple industrial sectors. Research funding was redirected. Strategic partnerships were proposed. Jay and Hai remained calm throughout the proceedings. They understood they were representatives of something larger than themselves. They were living proof of humanity's extraordinary potential. As the conference reached its conclusion, a collective understanding emerged. Humans were not just another species. They were a fundamental redefinition of life's potential. Adaptive, resilient, transformative. The final resolution was clear. Humans would be welcomed as equal partners in galactic exploration and scientific research. No longer would they be viewed as newcomers or limited beings. Professor Wei looked at Jay and Hai, a subtle smile crossing his alien features. "Welcome to the galactic community," he said. The words carried more than just diplomatic courtesy. They represented a profound shift in understanding. The conference ended, but a new chapter in galactic history had just begun. Humanity's true journey was about to unfold.